First, I had an excellent meeting with Foreign Minister Hishamudin, whom I've known for, in fact, 2 decades. So this is our first in-person meeting, although, of course, we had to take the precautions. He was on his side of the border. I was on the Singapore side of the border, maintain appropriate distance and all the precautions. But it was good to be able to meet up with an old friend directly. I'm also pleased to report that we have both sides have settled the arrangements for the reciprocal green lane, as well as for what we call the periodic commuting arrangement. So all the details have been settled. Applications will open on the 10th of August. In the next few days, we will publish the operational details. Without getting into details, I would say that this basically enables business travel to resume with appropriate precautions, as well as the needs of both Singaporeans and Malaysians who have long-term employment passes, work passes, respectively, be able to work for a period of up to 3 months and then go back for home leave. So I believe these arrangements will be essential as both of us continue to reboot, restart, and to increase the pace of our economic activities. So this is a significant agreement, and as you look across at the background, this is the most unusual picture to see an empty causeway. This, in fact, has been in the past the world's busiest land crossing. We're not ready to go back to that pace yet, but nevertheless, we do want to make a start, and we want to do so in a way which protects public health. We believe it can be done, and with all the precautions and all the arrangements that has been made, we will get there. At this point, the reciprocal green lane and the periodic commuting arrangement does not provide for daily travelers. We're not ready for that yet. I would say give us a couple of weeks to monitor the figures both in Malaysia, in particular Johor, and in Singapore. And as we gain greater confidence that the control of the pandemic is well executed in both places, we can then begin the discussions for how we can allow daily commuting. But you must bear in mind that even with a daily commuting model, there'll be a need for regular, comprehensive testing on both sides. So the other parameter is also the availability of mass-scale testing on both sides of the causeway. So there are quite a few more operational details that will need to be sorted out before we can get back to the daily commuting model. There's one more category which I have great sympathy for, and that is for compassionate reasons. You know, there are Malaysians and Singaporeans are related by blood, and the last few months, I've received so many desperate pleas. My parent or my grandparent is in hospital or is in ICU, or sometimes worse, has passed away, and they want so desperately to see their own, to bid a final farewell. This is the other category, on a much smaller scale, of course, but which I have great sympathy for, and we're trying to work out arrangements. So this has nothing to do with business, nothing to do with diplomacy. It's really just, human nature and the fact that we are all human beings with emotions, and our ties across the causeway are really deep, and we are related by blood. So that's the other category I'm working on. First point is that let's take the example of the reciprocal green lane, which we have just settled. You would have a pre-departure test, and then when you arrive, you'd have another test, and then you would be, in a sense, held in abeyance, in isolation, whilst waiting for the result to be available. And only after the result is clear, then do you proceed with your properly defined itinerary. It is a limited itinerary. In a sense, we refer to this as a bubble-wrapped itinerary. So you can see that all the necessary precautions are taken to protect public health while still enabling business and all the other legitimate activities to continue. So it's important for us to take a a reasonable and healthy balance on all these matters. Yes, I mean, again, you know, we've got reciprocal green lane arrangements with China, and we're discussing other arrangements with other countries. The principles are pretty much the same. As I said, however, the modalities, the frequencies, the specific arrangements will evolve according to the situation on the ground and according to the progress in medical science, which will improve testing, which will improve accuracy, sensitivity, and timing. So look forward to progress on all these fronts. The reciprocal green lane would be for important business travelers, CEOs, senior executives who need to conduct negotiations or very sensitive business arrangements. The periodic commuting model will be for people who are actually working, for instance, Malaysians who are working in our enterprises in Singapore and are prepared to stay here for a period of up to 3 months before going back for home leave. So it's really quite two different categories. But regardless of the details, the key point to emphasize is we need to protect public health. We need to take appropriate precautions. And if we do this correctly, we can find a way to live and conduct business despite the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic is not over yet.